my name is Jasmine, and I like Boys and Girls Club because I get to play with new friends and help them out. And the most is tutoring because they can teach me about more stuff I don't really know about. I like Mr. Jerome because he's fun to play with, and he was my coach in basketball. One day I want to be is a doctor like my mom because I want to see what's wrong with them. If they're sick, we can give them a flu shot and medicine. Thank you for helping me be great.
Welcome to the Boys and Girls Club of Lanier's virtual Be Great Gala. We want to start by thanking our presenting sponsor, the Northeast Georgia Health System, for their continued support. Not just for their support of this event in our club, but obviously all the things that they have done and continue to do to support our community throughout the health crisis. We want to thank all our supporters who have helped the Boys and Girls Club continue supporting kids and their families throughout the events of last year and continuing. One key has been providing consistent academic assistance that students have needed to thrive during a school year with a constantly shifting format. At school from home, parents' work situations changing, and I think the work of the club and what we've been able to do has been more needed than ever. We also want to remember, as we're kicking this off, two longtime friends, board members and supporters of the Boys and Girls Club of Lanier, Mr. Philip Sartain and Mr. Gene Marlowe, who we lost in the past 12 months. I personally want to thank you for your attention coming up in this gala. I love being a part of the gala every year, and obviously we all like to come together, share some fellowship over food, see a great speaker, be inspired, and just be around each other. And obviously we're not able to do that this year. We're doing a virtual event. And I thank you for still being here with us arm in arm. And we've worked hard to put something together that you're gonna enjoy, and we hope that you do.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Mickens, and thank you for joining us virtually to celebrate our Be Great Gala. Our gala is a representation of our growth, our impact, and our gratitude to our donors and our community. As you know, our community, our state, and our nation was met with some unforeseeable challenges in 2020. We saw the second worst health crisis of all time, an economic crisis that crippled small businesses and families who were unemployed, impacted with evictions, deprived of food and basic necessities to make it day to day. We saw an increase in learning loss and education for our youth in our communities all across America. We saw many important businesses and grassroots organizations shut their doors in 2020 in communities that needed them most. We saw food banks running out of food while people waited in long lines so they can feed their families. We saw social unrest, division in our communities and across this great nation. There were a lot of challenges. However, we had no time to spare. The Boys and Girls Clubs of Lanier went to work. We rolled up our sleeves and we began to address each and every one of those challenges, viewing them as opportunities to be great and help those youth and those families that need us most. We never wavered. We pivoted and we ensured that our employees did not have to fear job loss. In times of crisis, we needed all hands on deck and develop a whatever it takes mentality. We created a virtual platform for members and families, providing access to academic assistance, physical fitness, and character and leadership programs that would help bridge the gap of the learning loss for our youth that they were dealing with. We created a virtual mentoring community, accessible to all of our members, to make sure that they were not giving up, they were not giving in, and more importantly, reassuring them that they can call on us in their time of need. We safely reopened our doors in July with the renewed COVID-19 protocols by practicing social distancing, making mask wearing mandatory and fashionable for all who enter our doors. We wanted to ensure our youth, our staff, are physically and emotionally safe. We provided a hub learning environment at our clubs during the remote learning days for those families that do not have access to smart devices and supervision of their kids during the day. We offered a drive-through mobile pantry that equipped families most impacted with the crisis with healthy meals and snacks. Thousands of families have been served through our drive-through mobile pantry. We partner with our community to help us help our members and their families. One example is a family who lost their home due to a fire just a few days before Christmas. In 2020, we did whatever it takes, and we will continue to do it all over again because our youth and our community are depending on us. The most important aspect of all the afforded information is you. Our partners, our donors, stakeholders, corporate funders, and foundations have given us the resources we needed to be great, to be there for our youth. We cannot do it without your support. So I want to thank each of you personally for keeping the faith, sharing your time, your talent, and treasures with the Boys and Girls Clubs of Lanier. We are humbly and forever grateful. We appreciate you joining us. Take care.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Forrest, 2020 Youth of the Year for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Lanier. The illustrious Maya Angelou stated, "If you're always trying to be normal, you'll never know how amazing you can be." That was me. I always found myself conforming to the normality of society. To others, I possessed different mental qualities and physical qualities than most. So I started to believe what others thought of me, which produced my lack of self-esteem. My story is rough, but I know that my outcome is even greater. As I've grown, I realized that everybody has different perspectives on everything. For example, some people see the glass half full and some people see the glass half empty. And through these rough times, I've made it my duty to see the glass half full. In March of last year, we all had our lives uprooted by what we know as COVID-19, which forced us all to adapt to a different form of normal. When the virus hit, I was ending my sophomore year and entering my hardest year of high school, my junior year. Staying positive and holding on to hope was hard in the beginning, but with my very strong support system given to me by my Boys and Girls Club, it soon became very easy. When I entered the new year, I immediately knew what my New Year's resolution was. It was to be more optimistic and less pessimistic. This is my year to better my mental health so I can become the advocate that my generation deserves. My generation has been put on such a high pedestal that when we were hit with these unfortunate circumstances, everyone looked to us to continue to be the light in the world, while we were struggling together, the will to smile. I know because this was me. There was one place where I could smile and it didn't feel forced. That was the Boys and Girls Club. The club is my place to feel loved, embraced, and cared for. I can be whoever I desire to be, whenever I want. And that's the one thing every person deserves. Being successful, loved, and happy is my ultimate goal in life. As I mature into a young lady, I set goals that would keep me motivated throughout my journey. With the help of my club and our community partners, I hope that we can get more and more students into our facilities to experience all the things I have. This has been a great privilege of mine for many years now, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
I love the Boys and Girls Club because I got to meet new people and have a great time with them, and they would help me study with work that I need help accomplishing. When you're not in the Boys and Girls Club, I don't get to really much meet new people, but since I've been in the Boys and Girls Club for 3 years, including this year, it's been a great time and a great blast of a year, except Corona. We get to do games, a ton of fun games. We get to play basketball, we get to play games, and get to run around to get that exercise. Thank you for helping me be great, Boys and Girls Club.
And now it's the part of the event that I know you've all been waiting for, and it's getting to hear from Mr. Herschel Walker. Herschel is so many things. Really, a big challenge in interviewing you, spending time with you, is narrowing down your accomplishments. So we'll be brief. As a Georgia fan, we got many Georgia fans out there. Obviously, Herschel, the most famous, best Georgia Bulldog player ever. Took us to a national championship in 1980, won a Heisman Trophy there, 3-time All-American, and not just a football player. I mean, excel at all sports, was in the Olympics, a successful businessman, so many things. And, I think a thing that stands out most for me overall, not just the athletic accomplishments and business accomplishments, but in who you are as a person and what you care about and how you use your platform to serve others, particularly in the military, but a great family man, great community man, and it's just an honor to have you here. Thanks, Herschel.
Well, thank you. And you don't have to say Mr. Walker. Mr. Walker's kind of old.
All right.
And stuff. But no, thank you so much. It's an honor because I think I was very fortunate to have my mom and dad that always taught me discipline and always taught me respect for others, and that means a great deal. And I grew up in a place where I was very fortunate to get coaches that had that same type of mindset, that you had discipline in your life, and that makes a big difference. You want to have some type of priorities that you know what you can do and what you can't do, and also education. Going and get an education, because I say education can take you a long ways. I don't think people realize that. Being an athlete, you can be an athlete, but at 30, you're starting to get old. But with an education, you can be president of the United States when you're 70, and that can take you a long ways.
Well, and some athletes have more longevity than others, like yourself, who's whooping up on 20-year-olds in MMA well into who knows what decade. Let me ask you this. You mentioned the value of your coaches and of your parents. I know I've heard you talk about advice your mother gave you that you have carried with you to overcome challenges throughout your whole life, especially when you were younger and you were getting bullied or people said you couldn't do this or that. And her words were very meaningful to you. When you look at the world today, what is a message that you think we need to be providing to young people that they need to hear to help carry them through tough times?
I think one of the biggest things that we got to tell our young people out there is do not listen to the word "I can't." Do not listen to anyone tell you that you can't do it, because they don't know. You gotta, if you can see it, you can achieve it, but you gotta work at it. And that's one thing I think kids gotta realize is it doesn't come easy. Nothing just falls out of the sky and it happens. There's been many times that I've been injured and I had to go out and run. There's been many times I've seen other people have been injured, but they still get out and they try to get the job done. And you have to do that. But I'm not saying everyone has to do this to be an athlete, because you don't know what you're going to be good at. You may be a great singer. You can be a great teacher. You can be a great educator. You can be a great at whatever you're going to do, but you work at it. And I think that's what people got to realize. Everyone's not going to be a football player or a basketball player or a great golfer. You can be good at something else, but as long as you're in there. I remember listening to Muhammad Ali one time, and he said, if I was going to be a garbage man, I was going to be the best garbage man out there. And that's where you got to look at it. If I'm going to be a garbage man, I'm going to be the best one out there, because that's my job. And that's where I've always looked at things, that I have a responsibility, and that's what I always try to carry myself as.
I love it. Just whatever you do, don't quit.
That's
and look to be
exactly right.
the
You
best.
never quit, because if you quit today, you will quit tomorrow. Quitting will become easy. And I say quitting is a disease. And that's the reason I always said, you don't say that I can't, because that becomes a disease. It's easy to stop. What's hard is people that's going to work at it, people that's going to give it all the time. And I tell people, I never drank before in my life, never tasted beer, and people think, oh, how can you do that? I said, because I had a job to do. I had a responsibility. I couldn't, if I'm going to train, I can't be on an Olympic team drinking. I can't be on an Olympic team going to bars. I can't play for the University of Georgia if I'm hanging out at a bar. Plus, my parents, they probably would have killed me for doing that, because I didn't grow up like that. I grew up in the church.
Could you tell us, what is your favorite memory from your time at University of Georgia?
Well, one of the memories I have, and one of the things that people don't know about me is, I never really was crazy about football. I liked it. I loved to compete. And, when I went to the University of Georgia, I remember this, showing up on that campus, and the very first day, I remember sitting, and we were at the back of the room. The freshman was at the back of the room. I don't know why we sit at the back. But I remember Coach Dooley making a speech. He said, well, man, if we stay together, we stay as a team, we win together, we lose together, we will win a championship here at the University of Georgia. And I've carried that into everything I've done now. And I just remember that. And I know the memory that bring back is not memory of the game, but memories of different things I've learned that I've carried into my life today. How we believe in each other, we work with each other. And even playing at the university, playing Florida one year, when we were behind in the game, and I still remember no one on that sideline at Georgia thought we were going to lose this game. We only have seconds left on the clock. We're behind by 5 or something. We're on our own 10-yard line. We have 90 yards to go, but no one on our sideline thought we were going to lose. And I said, it's memories like that I remember. Things that stands out, that you don't give up, you don't quit, you just keep working. And that's where I've always, today I do. I just keep working, and it works out. And that's what I try to encourage kids today is, you never quit. Don't give up. Things may get hard, things may get tough, but it's gonna be okay. I tell people, Jesus may not come when you want him, but he'll come on time. and I believe that. Sometimes we get so far down that we don't think we can make it. But you look up and it's gonna be okay. And I tell people to get up, and I've always gotten up. I never knew what I was going to do in life, but I know whatever it is, I was not going to quit. And that's where I've always gone into my life today, is I just never quit.
I love hearing that. I'm a firm believer that if you don't quit, you'll succeed. And people from the outside looking in, they see all your success across so many different things, and that's what they picture. But you, just like everyone else, have challenges every day. What's the biggest obstacle that you've had to overcome when you wanted to quit and you didn't?
I think one of the biggest challenges is yourself. Because yourself saying, "Oh, why am I doing this? Why am I?" You try to, you have to fight through it, and you don't let no one outside try to penetrate your mind and tell you that they quit. But you yourself will tell yourself to quit. You yourself will say, hey, I'm not going to run that much today. I don't feel as good. You yourself will start doing it. So you have to fight through your own challenges. And that's what I had to do. After football, I was diagnosed as having a mental problem, they said it was. And I'm like, how in the world could I have a mental problem? I'm valedictorian in my class. I played football. I'm having a problem. But then I realized that we all have these challenges in life. You just have to face them, and they're going to be okay. But you got to be honest with yourself. That's what it was. You got to be honest with yourself. And I was honest with myself. And I tell kids, this is the honest truth. You may not be a great football player, but you can be good at something else. You may be a singer. I don't know what you're going to do. I can't tell you. My son, I tell him this all the time. I don't know what he's going to do. He has the athletic ability to be a great football player, but I'm not going to make him play football or make him do this. But I see that he's won so many other things that he's done, and I'm happy for that. I'm just happy that he's out doing something and stuff. And that's what I want him to do, just be happy. I want him to be happy.
I love that, and I love, that there's so many things you take a swing at. And even now, you're doing lots of different things. The folks listening, I'm sure, would love to get some insight into what's an average day or maybe an average week in your life currently. What are you doing? What does Herschel Walker do each day?
Well, it's strange because I do all my push-ups and sit-ups still.
And what's the number currently?
Right now, I'm doing about 1,500 push-ups every day, about 3,500 sit-ups. When I'm at home and not traveling, I try to get on a bike where I'm doing anywhere between 30 to 50 miles on an exercise bike, and probably jogging about 3 miles a day and stuff, and doing some more like jump rope and stuff. If I'm on the road, I'm doing about 20 miles on the exercise bike somewhere and doing all my push-ups and sit-ups and stuff, still training my martial arts a lot. And then I'm going to work. I have my chicken company. I'm going to work, so I'll be at work doing a little bit. Then at lunch, I'm come back and do some more exercise. Or I'm at a military base. Every 3 weeks, I'm at a base somewhere in the world where I'm teaching PT, combative, and talking to the soldiers that are no shame to ask for help on the mental health side. Or what else? There's so many different things that I do because I love life. I absolutely love life. As I said, when I was young, I had a speech impediment, and God blessed me so, and I just want to keep those gifts and keep them blossoming, because I think if I quit, it's not going to grow anymore. So I keep watering that same old talent, and that talent blossom out into a lot of different things. And then it gives me confidence. And I think that's one thing I think the kids got to realize. They got to have confidence in themselves. They got to love themselves, respect themselves. They got to love themselves, and I respect myself so much, and that's what I tell the young people. Respect yourself, respect the people around you, and love yourself. Because when you love yourself, you're going to do the best for yourself and stuff.
And if you're to love others like yourself, you got to love yourself
You
first.
gotta love yourself first.
You mentioned the building confidence, and I could see that because I'm a firm believer that when you overcome and you have success in one thing, it gives you momentum to go do other things. Would you say that, your success being a valedictorian and with football helped you? Did each one kind of build upon the others?
It did, because like I said, I was overweight. I had a speech impediment, and a coach used to pick me up from after church, and I go to the track, and I used to run around this track and started losing some weight and stuff, and I started going to the library reading books where my speech got a little better, and that gave me confidence to go into other fields, like going to the classroom now, raising my hand to answer questions, because for almost 4 years of my life, I never spoke in a classroom. Kids didn't think I could even speak. And that gave me confidence. Then it sailed into something else. And that's the way it is. It's sort of like a waterfall. As it falls, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it moves things. And that's what was moving a lot of things for me. And and like we said earlier, I've competed in a lot of different areas. I'm one of the fastest people in the world, and I'm at my size. And people say, "You're too big to run." Well, I never told myself I was too big to run. I never heard of that before. That's something somebody else said. I'm gonna get out and do it because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. That's why I tell the kids, they don't want to tell you can't, because I know you can. The limitation is on you if you put it on yourself, and I try not to do that.
I think it was Michael Jordan who said, "Limits like fears are often just an illusion."
That's exactly right.
Of all these things you're doing, I appreciate you a minute ago sharing about kind of an average day. How do you prioritize? Because you're taking great care of your fitness, you're serving the community with the military, you're running your business. What do you do when business demands become bigger and they take up the time? How do you pick and how do you balance those different parts of your life?
Well, people always say there's only 24 hours in the day. Well, I don't sleep much. I sleep maybe 3 hours a night. I'm not telling people to do that because you don't want to do that. I eat one meal a day, having a food company. But I believe in the Lord Jesus. I believe He's going to take care of me. And I said, I prioritize. No matter what, I get my exercise in, because I think exercise is going to give you more energy. It's going to make you feel better. It's going to make you feel good about yourself. And then with my work, I get the work I need to get done, but I don't linger, like do little things that I do things that are very, very important. And that's what I try to do. I'm not a person that do a little small talk. I think people say, I loved it. Let's get it and get it done and move on. Then we can have fun. But you got to get your work done first. I think I may have learned that from my parents. You got to get your work done first. If you want to have fun, you got to get your work done. I remember telling my son, I say, if you're going to watch TV or play video games, for every minute you're on that game, you got to give me a minute of reading a book. You got to give me a minute of doing this here. You got to give me that. Now, I'm not telling you can't do it. I'm not telling you can't do that. I'm just saying for every minute you do it, you got to give me a minute over here. Same thing I tell people when they're trying to lose weight. I say, I'm not going to tell you not to eat the cake. Eat the cake as much as you want to eat, but for every piece of that cake you eat, you got to give me more exercise. You got to do. I don't believe in halfway. When you come to the crossroad, take a direction. Because it is okay to make a mistake. We're all going to make a mistake. You can turn around. But don't stand in the middle of the road because you will get run over. You take a direction. If it's the wrong way, turn around. I've turned around a lot of times. Yeah, I've turned around a lot of times and go in the right direction. And people see all the right direction, but they don't see me turning around. But if they dig down deeper, they'll see, oh, wow, he had a tough time there.
A common theme of what I've heard you say that I love, because I'm a big believer too, is don't quit and give it your best. If there was one other piece of advice you could give to folks besides don't quit and give it your best at whatever you do, what would that be?
Well, I think loving yourself. A lot of things that happen was weird, and I go back and look at myself as, a lot of people know I didn't love Herschel Walker for a long time. I was one of these guys that I'm like a taskmaster. I'm always out there doing, and I didn't love myself. I didn't love what I was doing until a long time where I became sort of mentally unbalanced, as I said. Never drank, never taken any drugs, never had any. I don't even take medicine. But it's from being bullied as a little kid, and that's why I tell all the kids, I don't bully no one. Be a friend. Be a friend, remember to love someone like you like to be loved and respect yourself. And because of the bullying, it hurt me later on in life. But I was very fortunate that I was able to go get help. And I tell people there's no shame to ask for help because we all have problems. We all have these challenges. We all fall short of the glory of God. By me going to get help, it made me a better guy. And that's what's so interesting is that love who you are, because God has made you special. God has made you so special. I don't care how you look. I don't care what color you are. God has made you very special, sort of like he put us all in a melting pot together. And he brought it this great, great, beautiful thing. And I tell people this, some people can't sing with a dime. But when you put them with a lot of other people, they sound so good because they love themselves. And I said, that's the way we are. We're in this together. And that's what I realized.
I love that. We all have our own unique piece and our unique role to fill.
Yes.
And one thing that I kind of read between the lines, and it plays into what we do at the clubs, is that the things that people do when you're young, you're so influential when you're young, whether it was your parents and what they taught you, and you still remember them playing with you, or the negative, the people who bullied you. You won a Heisman Trophy. You were at the apex of performance, and yet you still had things going on from what people did, a negative influence when you were a child. And it's so important what we pour into young people.
It is. It's very, very important. And that's why, when I hear athletes say that they're not a role model or an actor, it upsets me because I say you are. I don't care if you're an adult, you're a role model because kids see that. And kids see that and they assume that that's the way it is. And it's not that. I'm not going to say everything in your life is going right. But like I said, there's no shame for me to ask for help. There's no shame to say, you know what, I'm weak at this right here. I need some help. And I think that's what people got to realize. It is okay to ask for help. I think the problem is you go screw something up. Like I said, I was not a great student until I asked people to help me to understand this word. What did this mean? And they started helping me. And then I started learning how to go to the library and stuff, and that's what brought me out of it. I was not a great athlete until a coach starts to help me out and help me to do this here. And that's why I say it is my responsibility not to help someone else. Just because I built my bridge, not God expect me to go out and help other people to build their bridge as well.
That's right, Tim. Much is given, much is
Much is
required.
and I think people got to remember that. Chad, you just can't hoard it and you keep it for yourself. You got to go out and help others. I believe you got to help others because that's when God's going to smile down on you. And that's what I think athletes got to do. I think people got to do that.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that and sharing your vulnerability because it takes a strength
No,
to show your weakness.
it does.
And we all need help. And people hearing that, hey, wow, even Herschel Walker needs help with some things
yes.
sometimes.
A lot of times
That's meaningful.
I need help with it. A lot of times I need help with it, but I'm okay. I'm okay because I know that, and that's why I said that's why I think people don't want to do. Don't live a fake life. You don't want to be no one else. I don't want to look. I love Herschel Walker. I don't want to look like Denzel Washington, even though he's cool. But I don't want to look like him. I love
You're
Herschel.
pretty cool too.
Yeah, I love Herschel, so I don't want to look like him.
I love that. You know, we all need to be looking at the bright side.
Yes.
And sometimes we need someone to come in and help us see the bright side.
See the bright side, and that's how your mentors work. They come in and help you to see the bright side because, like I say, you're gonna get down. I'm not gonna say things are always gonna go your way. 'Cause I'm gonna be honest, it's not. Everything is not gonna always go your way. You're gonna fail at some things. You're gonna fail at some things, but it is okay, and that's what I think people need to realize. It is okay to fail. Just don't fail the next time. Get up and keep going. Say, no, I'm not gonna do it. And I told someone this. I said, one thing was weird. If you make 90, that's terrible because you didn't make 100. But let's look at the bright side of this. If you make 90, you may go back and study and learn some more because you didn't make the 100. The 100 is a terrible thing because now you think you're great. So you're not going to go back and learn nothing else. And I used to tell people that all the time. If I didn't make 100, I go back and there's so many other things that I learned just by studying because to develop greatness, you have to see above where they have that plateau set. Most scientists have discovered greatness not just by trying to discover what they wanted to discover, but going outside the realm, seeing something above that. And that's what I tell people, you got to think above some of that stuff.
And if everything was easy, you never developed that muscle of keeping to challenge. You can't beat the plateau.
You never develop. And I said, it's something above that. It's something above that. I think of the Williams sisters in tennis. And I said, guys, it is funny. I remember seeing them when they were young. They didn't have all the stuff that these other tennis players had, but they worked. They never quit. I remember I used to watch them play in their early tournaments. They used to hit the ball so hard, and they would have so many errors, but all of a sudden, once they got it, like, wow. And I said, that's the way it is. You gotta keep working at it.
It's like an iceberg. People don't see all that's below the surface that's required to keep this part up.
Yes, that's like there's so much more down. Yes.
I love hearing you achieve so much, and I love hearing you talk about not placing limits on others and showing them what to do. So when in your professional sports career, especially when you were in college and not the pro level, how did you communicate that to your teammates? How did you help them to be their best?
The way you help them, I've shown them. And what I meant by that is they started seeing the way I was. You practice what you preach. They saw that I wasn't going to bars. They were like, oh, Herschel don't even drink. Why is he not drinking? Then they saw how I work, so they started working like that too, some of them. And they saw, I practice what I preach, and that's the way I help them out. Is, guys, this is the way I do it. I go out and I mean it like this. That's where I grew up. And I tell people, I was very fortunate to get a scholarship to go to Georgia. Even though I may have had other scholarships, but I was fortunate. So I was not going to waste it on goofing off. So I think that's what I did. I just showed them how it's going to be done. That's the way I was going to do it.
So not even really needing to use words, you just led by example.
Led by examples, and that's the way I said, guys, if I shout, I lose my voice. So I go out and I just showed them that I was going to work. And I remember the first day of practice and getting hit by Eddie Meat Cleaver Weaver. I think he really popped me a good one. I jumped up and went back into the huddle. People were shocked. You're going to get hit, so you might as well just keep going. Why quit? I'm not going to start crying now. I should have cried before I left home.
Well, this has been so much fun, and I could talk to you all day. I got one more question for us to wrap up the question and answer. Who is your favorite UGA running back of all time, outside of number 34?
Oh, geez. You know, it's funny because there have been so many that come through over the last couple of years, and it's going to be tough. But with Swift and Gurley and Chubbs and Michelle, I tell you, they've been exciting to watch. And, you know, people forget about Rodney Hampton. You know, there's been so many that come through there that has been absolutely incredible. And, you know, I think Swift was absolutely, you know, a guy that can catch the ball and do the things he was doing. I loved him. Chubbs, you know, Chubbs that did something after an injury. And I think kids need to see that. Chubbs had this serious knee injury, and the guy worked his tail off. People didn't think he was going to come back, and he comes back. And you see what he's doing right now in the pros. Just show you that determination, that grit that he wasn't going to quit. And Michelle, who was not the largest guy in the world playing running back, and the things he's done, you know, Gurley, and I think it is absolutely amazing. And it started out Willie McClendon before I came in. Willie McClendon, people don't remember Willie McClendon before I came in. Matt Simon, you know, those guys were. And what's interesting and he's a police officer here in Atlanta. That was a guy that I was playing with from Florida named Melvin Simmons. Melvin Simmons had a lot of talent coming from Florida. I just happened to get the chance to start. But yeah, that just shows that, you know, you have your chance to get the start. And when your name is called, you got to step up.
Step up.
You got to step up, and don't be ashamed. You know, I listen to people sing sometimes. I've heard some beautiful young kids sing, and they get kind of embarrassed. I'm like, God, I can't sing, but you can get out and do it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. You never know. You never know who's listening. You never know who's watching. And you know, my mom used to always say, my mom and dad used to say this: you do it as Jesus is watching you. And I'm like, oh, I hope he didn't see that. But that's the way I live my life sometimes. Jesus is watching me and stuff, and I'm okay with me.
Well, I appreciate so much your time with us today. Appreciate your willingness to just open up, answer these questions. And I'm taking away so many things, but definitely don't quit. You got to keep going. You don't have to do everything, but whatever you do, give it everything.
Yes.
And be happy with who you are. Whoever God made you, be the best that you can be.
Yes.
Herschel, thank you for being Herschel. Thank you for spending your time with us and for everything else that you do. We really appreciate it.
No, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me here.
My favorite thing about the Boys and Girls Club is when we go outside, because if we finish our homework early enough, we could just make paper airplanes, because that's honestly what I do whenever I'm done with my homework. So we play games when we're outside, and sometimes we have lots of fun.
What I love about the Boys and Girls Club is it gives Liam an opportunity to interact with other kids, get his homework done right after school. It builds up his confidence, and a thing I would say I probably love the most about the club are his teachers, especially Miss Hart and Miss Jordan.
Thank you for helping me be great at the Boys and Girls Club.
Good job. And speaking of homework, we probably need to do something, don't we?
Yeah.
What a great event. As we wrap up our time virtually together, I'd like to thank you again for joining us for this year's virtual Be Great Gala. I know I've been inspired, and I hope that you enjoyed the inspirational conversation with three-time All-American and Heisman Trophy winner, Mr. Herschel Walker. I know that you enjoyed hearing from our 2020 Youth of the Year, Ms. Jonlyn Forrest, as she shared how the club has changed her life. And hearing from our Boys and Girls Club Lanier CEO, Mr. Stephen Mickens, as he shared how you have had a direct impact on the youth in our community. Clubs continue to be integral to the recovery of families, especially those hardest hit by COVID-19, by providing the academic support for kids, keeping them on track in school despite whatever environment they're forced to be in. by providing a safe and positive place for parents to send their kids while they go to work to support their families, and also to provide mentors, to provide emotional support during stressful time, and just provide great positive role models that we all need in our lives, and particularly young people do. I'd encourage you, please continue to support the clubs in 2021 and beyond through our annual Futures for Kids campaign. There's a few ways that you can do that right now: by scanning the QR code on the screen, or by visiting boysgirlsclubs.com/donate. That's boysgirlsclubs.com/donate. One way that we'd like to thank you for being a participant in this virtual event is by entering all of the attendees into a raffle to win one of a few great prizes. First off, we've got 5 footballs which have been autographed by Herschel Walker himself. Secondly, we've got a great piece of artwork from local artist Sam Roper, which has also been signed by Herschel. I'd like to thank you again for joining us for the virtual Be Great Gala, and I'd also like to encourage you not just to continue supporting the work that we're doing here, but take the inspiration today, take what you heard from John, from Herschel, from Stephen, and continue to be a positive light in our community. We need it more than ever. There's so much negativity out there. But when you see the work we're doing at the clubs and what you can have a direct impact to do, I hope that encourages you just in your one-on-one interactions out there in the community to continue to be that bright light. Thank you so much. Have a great day.